We're gonna look at something that we've all felt, but rarely do we measure it. That is the cost of food that we spend in 1 year per person in Canada. We all overspend on food, and it's not because we're careless, it is simply because we underestimate the little decisions. Since food is such a necessity, if there's an increase in price for a particular item, it can really throw us off and it can really mess up the grocery bill, not to mention our budget and our household expenses. So we're gonna look at what drives up the cost of food and what can be done to limit your spending so that you have more cash flow around your household and you can cut back and spend less on the items at the grocery store, even items such as eating out and dining out and delivery apps. First, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, and show the channel some love if you may. In case you haven't met me before, my name is Leon Mann. I'm a licensed wealth consultant with Money Assist Financial, and what I do, I help hardworking individuals add an additional multiple 6 to 7 figures to their retirement portfolio, and I also help them to protect the hard-earned money during retirement. Now, the typical person can expect to spend anywhere between $300 to $500 per month on food alone, and this has a lot to do with diet, has a lot to do with location. It also has a lot to do with habits. For example, if you are living in a big city like Toronto, where we have so much options and specialty food items that you may not find in a small town, brand name grocery items, you can expect to spend between 500 to 600 plus alone on groceries. Rather than if you are in a smaller town, for example, then it's less, between $300 to $400 per month if you are in a smaller town. And this does not include takeout, right? So takeout, delivery apps, prepackaged meals, all of this, if you spend on these for convenience, it can cost you $1,000 plus, $1,000 plus alone on food that is takeout, because it can really be expensive when you're eating out. Now, here is the thing, guys. If you're spending $800 per month on food, and if you think about it, in 1 year, you are spending $9,600 on food alone. And this is where we have to start to ask ourselves better questions. Asking better questions can help make better decisions. Is this aligned with my budget? Am I purchasing out of convenience or habits? If you're purchasing out of convenience, it can really be pricey. But if you're purchasing out of a habit, then it can really be healthy in terms of lowering your cost. Now, what drives up the food prices? Number one is food inflation. We've felt food inflation since COVID, and this includes the rise in prices for meat, poultry, things like fresh produce. We've all felt the price crunch at the grocery store, and prices are a lot higher than it used to be. Second is out of convenience. Now, if it's out of convenience, we can have more control over it. For example, this includes things like delivery apps, things like dining out, things like prepackaged goods at the grocery store, which usually cost a lot more. And the reason why it is so expensive is simply because you're not just paying for the food, you're also paying for the service, right? So this is why the prices are a lot higher than if you simply purchase it whole and you cook it from scratch, for example. The third driver of food prices is waste. Waste is something that we do not think about, but every single year, the average person throws away hundreds of dollars in food alone. And this can include overcooking, expired goods. Now, if you simply have a habit of cooking 2 meals additional per week, this alone can save you about $100 to $300 per month. In 1 year, this can work out to $1,200 to $3,600 alone a year by simply cutting back and cooking 2 meals additional extra per week. You can really save yourself some money, which brings me to setting up a structured budget or food plan. For example, if it's an essential item like groceries, then you want to make sure that you grocery shop for the essential items that you need, things that you must have. And discretionary items can be things like eating out, like dining out, food delivery apps. And this, you want to make sure that you have a budget for it, because if you don't have a budget, it can really go overboard. And you know how expensive it can be when you start to eat out. But when I'm all said and done, you want to remember this. Food is not like taxes. It is not like rent. Food is an expense that you can control. And the best control that you can have is to monitor your food bill for 30 days. And to be honest, see what you can cut back on and see what you can budget for and use the essentials as groceries, right? So if you're wise at spending for food, then you can also significantly reduce your lifestyle costs, because food makes up a good chunk of our lifestyle. We all like to eat out, right? But by making better decisions on how you purchase food, you can really cut back on your lifestyle choices. By the way, if you did find value, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. And also guys, feel free to check out my other videos where we turn it up a notch. I thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, peace and love. Take care.